Wise Owl Knits podcast. This is episode 38. I'm your host, Cheryl Beckridge, and I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Today I am wearing my Grapevine sweater. I'll insert a picture that you can see the whole thing. This is a new pattern release that was just put out on my website a couple of days ago, and it was designed specifically for a pre-retreat knit-along at the Knitty McPurley Retreat, which is in Grapevine, Texas, hence the name Grapevine. And that happens in January of 2025. If you're going to the retreat, head on over to the Facebook group because there is a thread for the pre-retreat knit-along there. Devin is offering a discount on the yarn, the Dubrovnik DK, which this is knitted in, and you just need to go to the Facebook group to get that coupon code for that. Or watch, if you're not going to the retreat, watch her latest podcast because she has a separate coupon code there for people that are not attending the retreat. So whether you're going or not, I have a sale on the pattern, and the coupon code I will scroll down here below, and that's for a 15% discount. That discount is good on the sweater, and as you can see, it's got a zigzagging cable pattern with bobbles, and so that's to represent the Grapevine. Love to have you knit along with us. You know, there was a discussion on one of my knitting groups online about necklines, and one of the ladies was saying she doesn't like big necklines because she feels like it looks sloppy. I prefer bigger necklines because I like comfy, loose fitting clothing. This fits more like a sweatshirt rather than something that's really fitted. If you do prefer a tighter neckline, I would do two things. One, go down a needle size or two for the ribbing, and also do a twisted rib rather than a regular rib for the ribbing at the top, and that'll tighten up the neckline. So, you know, everybody has their own preferences on what they feel comfortable in and how they like things to look. I just prefer a little bit looser. So that's how I made my sweater and how I designed it. If you're not up for knitting a Grapevine sweater, if you're not looking for a big project now, I've also got the Grapevine hat. And it's got the same cable pattern. It's got kind of a fun decrease at the top that looks like a little bit of a flower. This is also knit in DK, and this DK is some yarn that I got from Skeins. It's not in Knitty McPurley yarn, but definitely could be done in Dubrovnik DK too. So that's the Grapevine sweater and the Grapevine hat. Again, head on over to Wise Owl Knits and use the coupon code to get a 15% discount on one of the patterns or both of the patterns, and you can start knitting along with us. If you're not going to the Knitty McPurley retreat and you'd like to knit along, just tag me with your photos on Instagram, and my Instagram name is Wise Owl Knits with 2 S's. So I'd love to see your progress and love to see what you're making. So that is the Grapevine sweater and the Grapevine hat. I've got another new item on my website, and I will have some more items in this same line coming, but I'm just going to add them a little at a time. I'm a big fan of Emma Ball pattern, or I guess products. She has a lot of things that have sheep and llama in sweaters. And so I've got these large bucket bags. I'll put a picture up here. Large bucket bags on my site too. They're available, and I'd be happy to ship those to you. I'm also going to take some to the retreat, so you can buy all of the items that I'm adding, or hopefully we'll be able to get all of the items that I'm adding at the retreat. Depending on how many I sell ahead of time, I might have to put in another order for these. But the bucket bag is nice and big. I think it's 16 inches tall and 20 inches wide when it's laying flat. It's got a drawstring at the top. Pulling the wrong thing. Drawstring at the top so you can cinch it closed and not lose anything. It's also got, it's lined in this knitted fabric, and it has a large pocket inside too, which, you know, everybody loves pockets. Pockets are a good thing. So these large Emma Ball knitting bags are available on my website at wiseowlknits.com, and it'll show up right on the first page, or it's also listed under tools and bags. I've got a couple of other things in that category too, so head on over and check those out. I just want to give you a preview of some of the other new items that will be on my website, but they're not there just yet. These are mini magnetic page markers. This one is opened up, but it can fold over your book or your pattern to keep your place. And again, it's got the cute little sheep in sweaters. I've also got these cute note cards, and this one is from her felted sheep collection, and they're blank inside, so you can write in whatever kind of note that you want. And also this cute coaster, which again is sheep in sweaters. Things that everybody needs. They're just so cute. Adventures in Procreate. I have been playing around with Procreate. I'm not a talented artist. My older brother is an art professor and can draw anything. My dad was a pretty good artist. My grandfather was a good artist. Maybe it skips the women. I don't know. But I can see what I want, but I have a hard time putting it on paper. And I've been playing around doing some things with Procreate, and I'll stick a couple of pictures in. Just trying to get better at drawing. It's kind of a new little hobby for me. I'm probably only going to get so far in it, but there are all kinds of really cool brushes that you can use, and a lot of knitting related brushes where the brush looks like knitting stitches or cables. And so that's been kind of a fun little exercise and something to just spark my creativity a little bit. Maybe I can make something that's actually usable in time. That's my goal. I don't know what, if I could maybe make like these sheep in sweaters. Maybe I could make some owls in sweaters and get a fabric printed. That's the thought in my head. Whether that will ever come to fruition, it's going to take a lot of work and practice, but I'm going to try and do it. I have not been working on a lot except for getting these patterns published, and I've got 2 other sweaters that I'm working on that I'm not ready to show just yet. So I have been getting ready to do something on my sock machine. I think the last time I showed you some skeins of this kind of charcoal gray sock yarn to make some socks for my husband to crank some out because he needs some new dark socks that he can wear to work. He wears the same thing to work every day. I mean, he sometimes changes the shirt, but he's basically black pants, black wool pants, and a white button-down shirt every day. And he's so proud of it. He thinks that's the best thing ever, to wear the same thing to work because it's so easy. It's like wearing a uniform. He went to Catholic school. He wore a uniform his entire time growing up. So, you know, there are some benefits to it. You don't have to think about what you're wearing when you get ready in the morning. But to me, it just seems so boring. So anyway, making him some charcoal colored socks to wear with his black pants. I don't have any black yarn. I think he would prefer black. I'm sure he's going to complain about these a little bit because they might show a little bit of color, something a little different in his wardrobe. But too bad. That's the way it goes. I've got some new yarn too. On Saturday, we had a party on Saturday. Anyway, we're getting ready for this party, and my husband comes out and says, I was out on the deck because it was an outside party. He goes, "You just got a big box of yarn." And I'm like, I didn't order any yarn. And you know how sometimes you order stuff and maybe it takes a little bit longer and you forget about it. And I thought, I can't think of anything that I ordered. And so I came in and I opened it up, and it's this beautiful alpaca. And it comes from the Unser alpacas, which is Susan Unser. And she raises the animals and then sends the yarn up to a mill to get spinned. And this one is called Grandpa's Socks. My friend Brenda is good friends with Susan, and she saw this yarn there and thought I needed it. So I've got quite a few skeins. I can make some, hopefully, I don't know if this will work in my sock machine, but I think it probably will. I'm going to have to do some testing. I may have to use the 54, I think it's 54. I think or 52 stitch cylinder rather than the 64, because I think it's just a little bit thicker than the sock yarn that I've been mainly using. It's 54 and my other one is 68. So I'll give this a try. I think I'll need to add a little bit of nylon with it because the other sock yarn that I'm using all has nylon in it. But I'll do a little experimenting, and I've got plenty of yarn that I can do that with. I may send some back to Brenda, though she lives in Arizona and she never wears socks. So just as a memento. Next thing that I want to talk about is the book that I've been reading, and that is Creature from Jekyll Island. And I've been on a bit of a pause from the book because it is just really a depressing book, and it's all about the Fed and how it was created and how it operates, and it's probably something we all should know, but it's not very fun to know, and it just doesn't make me happy while I'm reading. But I'm going to finish it. I'm doing it on audiobooks, and I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed, and it's 18 hours. I'm not sure if that's before the speeding up or after, I've got 12 hours to go. So if that's the pre-sped up speed, then maybe 8 hours to go. So I'm not even halfway yet. And makes me madder and madder every time I read it. So, you know, maybe I should just put it away and pick a happier book. Nature in the City. Last week I was driving up a little north of Indianapolis in a smaller town but still very urban, Carmel, Indiana, and was in kind of an industrial area but still pretty much very populated area. And I'm driving along trying to find a building, so I'm kind of going slow, and I see this little critter walking out, and I'm like, I think that's a fox. I don't see fox very often. Occasionally we'll see some in the neighborhood, but I don't think I've seen any in 3 or 4 years. So this fox just slowly sauntered out, and there weren't any other cars coming at the time, so I just stopped and let him cross the road, and he crossed the road and went into a driveway for another building just right by my car. So I snapped this picture of him. He was definitely very skinny, but all the fox that I've seen around here have been about that same size, and his fur, I don't know if he's mangy or not, but it definitely wasn't really full fur. Not like the pretty pictures you see sometimes, but it still was a fox, and I haven't seen a fox for a while, so that was fun. We've seen deer a couple times lately in our yard, and I don't think they're getting our tomatoes. I think the squirrels and the chipmunks are the culprits for the tomatoes. The deer was under the apple tree, and there aren't any apples left because the squirrel and the deer have long ago eaten all of them, but still just sauntering through our yard, and definitely very used to seeing people and not really upset or scared about seeing us at all. It's just really fun to see, and just interesting to observe their behavior. Do you guys see wildlife around you? I know, some of you live in cities or towns. Some of you are out in the country. If you're out in the country, you probably always see it, and that's not a big deal for you. If you live in a city and you see it often, I just feel really blessed. We've still got our owls around, though at this time of year it's hard to see them. I hear them anytime I'm out in the evening. If we're sitting out on the deck, you almost always hear the owls, but with all the leaves on the trees, it's fairly rare to see them, and you really have to look and to wait until they move, because that if they're sitting on a limb and they're not moving, it's difficult to see them. But they do fly every once in a while, so if you can catch one flying, then you'll get a glimpse. Lots of hummingbirds lately. We were kind of lamenting that we weren't seeing a lot of hummingbirds, and all of a sudden they are everywhere, and they're fighting with each other and flying back and forth from feeder to feeder, or chasing each other off. If we have like 5 hummingbird feeders, so there are plenty to go around, and they can all go to their own feeder, but they like to go to the same ones, and they don't like it if another hummingbird comes up if one is there eating. So the one that's eating will chase the other one away, and then the other one will fly back and start eating, and then the first hummingbird will come back and chase it away again. They're funny that way, but they're really, really interesting to watch, and we love seeing them and glad to have them here until it starts to get cold and they have to fly south. So, do you guys have lots in your yards? Just let me know. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear about your nature experiences where you live. That is really what I've got today. So thank you so much for watching for this short little time. Hopefully I'll be back soon. Again, you can find me at wiseowlknits.com. wiseowlknits with 2 S's on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too. And of course YouTube. Thanks again. I'll see you all soon. Bye.